So I remember back when I was younger, when there was nothing to do, I would watch some reality TV like Run's House. Run's House was a pretty good and interesting show, and it introduced us to Angela Simmons. Now, of course, there'll be other people that will show up on there, like Russell Simmons and his wife and the kids and everything else, but that's how the world really got introduced to Angela Simmons. Now, at the time, Angela Simmons was a very intelligent, modest woman that a lot of men really liked. I didn't care for her that much. She wasn't the type that I was attracted to back then, but a lot of my friends liked her. You know, she was wore very low makeup. Wow, excuse me. Wore little to no makeup, dressed modestly, and was very educated. Something to me always seemed like there was something a little fake about her, but you can say that for anybody that's on reality TV, right? But let's fast forward to today. You go to Angela Simmons being the ideal woman that most men wanted back then, to today, her holding a fake, what's the best way to say it? Her holding out a fake toy prop at the BET Awards. And it's hard to imagine. You see Angela Simmons going from being a preacher's daughter, a reverend's daughter, a minister's daughter, excuse me, preaching abstinence her own self, and waiting until she's 28 years old to finally do the deed and have a kid, I believe. I think she said it was 28.
Real, so we do have to talk about the fact that you were the face of abstinence for a long time. So how did you handle it, getting pregnant? I know how you did it, but
But it's the idea of people wondering,
people
how.
wondering, yeah. Like you were saying abstinence, and then you were pregnant, and this was before you got married.
Right. Well, you know what? I had a plan. The plan didn't work out, and you can't always plan everything. You know, I met the love of my life, and we got engaged, and I waited until 28. You know, I really would.
That's good.
That's a long time.
Yes.
You deserve a high five for that. Yes.
I mean, I really wanted to wait, and it just so happens it happened within that first little
Girl,
boom.
yes.
To now be on the BET Awards, holding out something that you can't show on regular YouTube without it getting flagged. And how do we get to this point? You know, growing up, we used to always hear that preachers' daughters were some of the most wild, promiscuous girls that you could ever be with. So if you wanted to be with one of them, you'll have a good time. Same thing with their sons. They normally did, the illegal substances and party behind their parents' back and things of that nature. And truthfully, I did see some of that growing up because I did know a bunch of preachers' kids and stuff of that nature. But with Angela Simmons, it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I get it. From what I just said, I should expect it, right? But I can understand her going after the wilder guys, right? The guys that maybe more in the street life, that have more of a rougher background, direct opposite of her, to help balance her out when it comes to her being naive to the world. They can help guide her in a way to where she wouldn't be taken advantage of. At least that's the way I would most positively spin that situation. But now herself, not coming from that background at all, is at a BET Awards doing something that she knows she has no business doing. Yes, she is grown. She is in her 30s, but the perception she's putting out is what her kids are going to have to deal with. And I just don't get why we go down different paths sometimes. I'm getting very wrong.
Part, like how they...
Now, I did say where she made a statement talking about how this is something she thought was a really cool accessory. I did see when she made a statement saying this is pretty much a really cool accessory. She thought it was nice and she just wanted to show it, and there was no big deal. But if she was at any other award show, I'm not sure that MTV still have awards anymore. You haven't heard about them in a while, but let's say the MTV Awards, or if you was at the Oscars, or whatever show that isn't predominantly black, she wouldn't have done that. She felt it was comfortable and felt like she would be accepted by doing something that's essentially ratchet. And what I miss about the younger years I have, it was okay to be different. You didn't always have to be in the streets. You didn't always have to be ratchet or ghetto or anything along those lines. A lot of the shows that we grew up with didn't show that aspect of black culture, and it seems like today that's all we see. Think about it for a second. When I was growing up, we had Family Matters. Yeah, they made fun of Steve Urkel, but yet you had a black cop dad. The mom, I forgot what she worked in. You had an A+ student daughter. You had a son. Yes, he wasn't the brightest, but at least he always consistently tried. And then you had Steve Urkel, who had a heart of gold, who wouldn't hurt a fly, and was a very intelligent young black man. And then you got the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And then you have Uncle Phil, the lawyer, Aunt Phil, the professor. And yes, you have Hillary, the Dix, but at the exact same time, she paved the way for herself. I think she ended up being, was it a weather woman or a news woman? She did something on TV. And then you had Carlton, the intellectual, who was more into investments and things of that nature. You had Will, who was naturally smart, but needed to be put on the right path in life so he wouldn't end up the rest of his friends back in his neighborhood. I miss that aspect of our culture. You rarely see any TV shows that are more positive towards black people today. Now, granted, I don't have cable, I don't watch that much TV, but most of the stuff that you see on TV is on a lot of these apps. The only show that I could think of right now, top of my head, that's recent, that is more positive spin on black people is Supercell. If you haven't seen that show on Netflix, please watch it. It is amazing, and I like the fact how they took an element that normally affects or known to affect more African Americans or black people in general, and turn it into a superpower. Yes, you do see the nasty effects of it to some who don't get the powers, but some of the selective ones, they get powers because of that disorder or that blood disease or whatever you want to call it. So I miss that aspect of us. I'm glad I got to see that growing up. And of course, I do believe it's some type of agenda that we are being fed and pushed all this negative stuff, so we won't aspire or try to be any day greater. And I'm not going to get too political or too much into a theory aspect of none of this stuff, but I'm just saying, from the time when I was a kid, I saw stuff that I could look up to. Heck, even when my daughter was a kid, she's a teenager now, but when she was younger, she got to see shows like True Jackson VP or Casey Undercover, things of that nature that also show black people in a more positive light, especially Casey Undercover, because granted, I wasn't always the biggest Zendaya fan. I'm still really not, but one day I can give her credit for that when she was on that show, she advocated to have an all-black cast, and that black cast was all seen in a positive light. If anything, the one white girl that was on there was seen kind of ditzy and slow, but she was a good supporting character. She never overshadowed in any way, shape, or form. I say all this, that Angela Simmons is falling into the agenda I feel like is being pushed out by pushing out the sexy reds, the what's that one light-skinned woman name with the Muppet hair, Ice Spice, the Megan Thee Stallions. And I made another comment about her doing the Shannon Sharp interview about him not necessarily have to apologize, because we don't have that class that we grew up with. And it's bring it back, think about it again. Some of the most desirable women back in the day had a lot of reserve to them. When you look at Pam from Martin, Gina from Martin, Hillary, and eventually Ashley, when you saw Laura, when you saw all these black women on these television shows, they were not half-dressed. Yeah, they may have wore some tight and form fitting at times, but majority of the time they just wore regular clothes. They looked amazing. You cannot find that anywhere now. Anytime you see a black woman on any medium today, they are overly sexualized. I cannot think of one black actress that is attractive. Wait, I take that back. Abbott Elementary. I haven't seen the black women on there sexualized, but it's also not a predominantly black show too. But I'm starting to ramble a little bit. I just wish Angela Simmons would wake up. She has the background to know better, and I feel like the man she's with want her to be the woman that he saw when she was on TV, because you wouldn't consistently chase and pursue somebody for years if you did not like how they were. And there's a lot of things that I noticed, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. There's a lot of things I noticed when it comes to relationships in general and what women think men want. A lot of the time, men, we would tell you what we want. We would tell you, you know, we don't want a woman that's looking very promiscuous a lot of time, that has a high body count, especially if we're trying to marry them. There's a difference between a woman we're trying to marry and a woman we're just trying to hook up with. A woman we're just trying to date for the minute and compared to the woman that we want to spend the rest of our lives with. Yes, there is a time and place to where we want a woman that's going to look out there, that's going to be dressed wild or looking crazy. But there are other times that wife we want her to just be ours, and what she has we just want us to see, and not for the whole entire world to see. But that's just my opinion on it. Maybe I'll make a whole video about that topic, because I feel like what I just said will get misconstrued in some ways. But you guys like, comment, and subscribe about this. If you did watch it all the way to the end, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you very much.